Hello all and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing really well. Interesting video again today as we look at the direction and sentiment of the cryptocurrency markets and potentially what may be happening towards the end of this year, 2023, as well as some different Hedera breadcrumbs. Fun fact though, Bitcoin currently has a larger market cap than the Bank of America and the Bank of China combined, and that will probably continue to increase in the future, particularly as we have those spot ETF filings coming thick and fast. And it's pretty much inevitable at this point that the SEC are basically going to have to approve either the majority, if not all of them. And that is based on the vast majority of those asset managers complying with all current legislation the current SEC deems to be valid. Fear and greed index is looking interesting. We're currently in the sort of neutral to just tipping into the greed zone at 56. As we said before, normally when we're in a greed zone for an extended period of time, we do tend to see a pullback. If we look at the max time frame of this going back several years to 2018, we can see every time we spiked really high, we've done a major pullback as well on this particular sentiment. Whenever we've hit the high 90s, almost approaching 100, that has always been the cyclical top for Bitcoin. As we can see, we're still quite a way away from that at the moment. Interesting as well, CoinMarketCap have now just introduced a similar sentiment indicator over on the main page to do with fear and greed, because it is a really important piece of information when it comes to how the markets are performing. Plan B then recently back with his Bitcoin market cycle, talking about how it's working again like clockwork. The 7th month in early bull market is exactly where Bitcoin should be. And we can see here, effectively, we are looking like potentially we will see a new cycle top towards the end of 2023, moving into 2024. We can see these we've cleared the red zone effectively, we're back into the blue zone, and whenever we've hit this green zone in the past is when we've accelerated towards a all-time high for Bitcoin previously, as well as the cryptocurrency markets. So we can see these line up with where we've seen previously. So it's looking like we may see a new cycle top towards the end of this year / early next year, and that could coincide with a Bitcoin price of anywhere north of or around $100,000. And only you could imagine as well how much additional liquidity and capital would flow into the wider cryptocurrency markets after Bitcoin hits that all-time high. We could very, very easily be seeing the largest run of altcoins that we have ever seen in the past. Things like Hedera HBAR should surpass their previous all-time highs and potentially accelerate to those price targets that we've all been looking at. Maybe $1, maybe somewhere around that sort of range. As well, we've got Carl from the Moon saying Bitcoin cup and handle breakout could send the price to $58,000 within the next 90-day period. If we sort of, accelerate back towards that previous all-time high, there is a very high chance then it is confirmed we are in a new bull market with a new all-time high potentially looming around the corner. Again, we will see that Bitcoin dominance tend to increase. Altcoins could drop substantially still from here. We've seen this in the past. Bitcoin will accelerate forward towards its all-time high, and it effectively ends up being like a black hole. It absorbs all of the capital and liquidity from the other altcoins in order to push for those all-time highs. Of course, we've got new capital entering the markets as well, but we will see altcoins continue to bleed whilst that price action is taking place. It's only once we have seen and achieved that new all-time high that we will then start to see rotation out of Bitcoin back into altcoins. So that is something to be very, very considerate of, is that even if we do see a bull market take place, it could still be several months away, an even longer time period before we begin to see altcoins actually perform as they probably should. Right, then that's enough of the macro stuff for the crypto market. Some interesting announcements from the Hedera space. So SourceSwap Labs, mark your calendars. We're 6 days or even 5 days now away from revealing our new tokenomics proposal for Source. Expect major news that will shape the future of SourceSwap. Larry, take the wheel. We can see there the 15th of July 2023, Source transcends. So it appears they've got a proposal for new tokenomics, potentially a burn. Who knows what is going on at the moment? There's no information whatsoever, even on the Discord. So this will be a very interesting announcement taking place in the next 5 days. Of course, I will cover it. I do hold Source tokens. In fact, I did videos way back when, before SourceSwap even launched their DEX, when they were effectively funding it via their NFT sales, which of course then converted into an airdrop, and potentially as well those NFTs, those Epoch NFTs, will be used for staking multipliers going forward into the future once that hits their elements of their time frame. It's important to note as well, a lot of the projects within the Hedera ecosystem will probably perform or outperform HBAR as a token in the short term. So things like Source, H-Suite tokens, so from HBAR Suite. And there are several other meme coins as well at the moment that are doing incredibly well on Hedera. Here's actually one of them. So we can see on SourceSwap Labs, there was a new listing alert called Source 𝗟𝗓𝗓 that's been performing very well recently. Now, these are complete meme tokens. There is realistically no utility whatsoever for these. There's another one called 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗓, and there's several others at the moment going around on Hedera. Of course, do your own due diligence, and these are probably not things that you want to hold for the long term. Although, again, potentially in the short to medium term, they could perform quite well, as people seem to like buying meme coins such as Doge and Shiba, etc. Or Shiba Inu, I should talk about. Yeah, so that's happening at the moment on Hedera. We are seeing the rounds at the moment happening. NFTs as well don't appear to be performing too well other than those blue chip projects like Dead Pixels, potentially as well Hungry Baboons. Coin of the day on Lunar Crush sentiment again was HBAR. That was just a couple of days ago on July the 8th. So we can see there is still a lot of sentiment at the moment occurring for HBAR. Of course, at the moment, we are in sort of a crypto winter. There is very little information across the scenes when it comes to social media. I mean, Twitter at the moment, for me, seems like a bit of a minefield. There's tons of different spam and bot accounts for lots of these different trending things, particularly to do with cryptocurrencies. A lot of the discords at the moment are dead. So this is a great signal to tell you that we are really sort of in the depths of a bear market as it currently stands. And that could continue for a couple more months. A good thing to be doing at this time is, if it permits in your particular circumstances, maybe to look to average into some of your positions, particularly if we see some more discounts happen over the long term. We said it before, holding these projects for a long period of time can be quite painful, particularly when crypto is not in favor as a particular asset, as well as the different macroeconomic issues we've had for major economies like the United States and Europe. Of course, we've had incredibly high amounts of inflation, risk off assets. We've had massive incidents with exchanges. There's been lots of different sort of nails in the coffin recently for cryptocurrency. And it is no surprise at the moment that we are seeing a bit of a drought when it comes to engagement across the scenes. But it is nice to see that the coin of the day was HBAR yet again. Some great tweets here out though from Crypto Observer talking about an interesting sort of set of breadcrumbs. FIS, the US financial technology group Fidelity National Information Services, has agreed to sell a majority stake in its merchant payments arm WorldPay, which many of you may be familiar with. They actually process a lot of the behind the scenes for online digital payment facilitation, to a private equity firm called GTCR, valuing the business at up to nearly $18.5 billion. FIS and FPOS, I've covered FPOS in the past because there are a major user or been looking at the technology for Hedera for a considerable amount of time at this sort of stage over in Australia. AP welcomes WorldPay from its FIS AS FPOS member. WorldPay customers can now benefit from the processing strength of FPOS infrastructure, directly accessing Australia's domestic debit network, adding to the 2 billion transactions that are already being made every year through FPOS. And of course, we were looking in the past, potentially seeing some of those FPOS transactions, even subsections of them potentially being run through the Hedera consensus service. And Fidelity National as well will divest 55% of that business to GTCR and retain the remaining 45%. The company will receive those net proceeds of nearly $12 billion from the transaction. So really interesting here for potential use cases again across Hedera Hashgraph, and just shows the breadth and depth of the accomplishments that Hedera can achieve when it comes to those varying use cases. Interesting tweets again here from the HBAR Foundation. I did actually cover 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗥 in a dedicated video quite a while back, but they're excited to announce the launch of 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗥 and the MetaMask's identity snaps for developers looking to build digital identifiers, or DIDs, decentralized identities, and verifiable credentials, VCs on the Hedera network. I've said before, this is a major sort of moving block when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Decentralized identities, digital identifiers, and verifiable credentials could be a massive game-changing use case for cryptocurrencies that get integrated into majority of mainstream Web2 infrastructure. Self-sovereign IDs as well is one of the most promising areas of blockchain growth, and a core part of the Web3 vision to enable users to control their data. So far, however, insufficient tooling has left the industry grappling with unverified data and limited capabilities. Now, though, as the market seems reliable or seeks reliable AI ML solutions, the significance of decentralized technologies capable of issuing, verifying, and revoking credentials is greater than ever. The new Identity Snap is a sophisticated plugin that seamlessly integrates with a wide range of applications, augmenting the native capabilities of MetaMask. This powerful tool extends MetaMask features by introducing support for DIDs and VCs, specifically on the Hedera network. Through a user-friendly API, users can easily create their own unique DID using their private key and Hedera account ID, and they have got a dedicated documentation page here from 𝗟𝗜𝗏𝗡𝗥. Now, of course, this is very, very interesting because this could be a major game changer. Again, a turning point for Hedera Hashgraph in terms of use cases. Could you imagine if Hedera effectively integrates this seamlessly for decentralized identities? Even then, if you're using other potential cryptocurrency chains or Web 2 applications, you may still require or need the ability to use Hedera Hashgraph itself for your digital identity, which then connects to those different chains. Full interoperability here potentially could be the future in terms of a major scale use case for Hedera Hashgraph. And it's not to underestimate as well the power of something like this for a multitude of different users. I'm sure many of you can think immediately of several different use cases for a decentralized identity that's secure and reliable going out into the future. The convergence of DLT and AI as well also brings new value to business. We're pleased to bring W3C decentralized identity capabilities to Hedera and MetaMask for business to improve trust in data integrity. So that's one of the guys from 𝗟𝗜𝗏𝗡𝗥 talking about how it's really important moving forward into the future. Right then, before I wrap up this video, I wanted to share this infographic of the progress when we look at monthly transactions on Hedera Hashgraph. So we've been making videos on this channel, I think it was the beginning of 2022, so well over a year at this point. But we can see the transactions there from June to December of 2022 were pretty lackluster. I think they were just like a couple of million. And we can see that almost step function looking hike in the bars from December 2022 to January of 2023. We went from probably the low millions, maybe high hundreds of thousands, up to north of 650 million. And that was, of course, 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗥 going live. But then if we look at the data throughout 2023, we see a continued uptrend in transactions being produced. And again, it looks like July will be another record-breaking month for Hedera. So even though we only have a select few of use cases that are currently going live, they are still scaling themselves. They are not at their potential limit yet in terms of what they are processing via the Hedera consensus service. And it will continue to expand going forward into the future. I've seen more information recently as well about the Coupon Bureau and that coupon standard potentially going live on Hedera, hopefully by Q4. Of course, they were meant to go live as of June, July this year. July is not over. We're still early days at the moment, but it looks unlikely that we'll see that go live in July. Hopefully by Q4, we will see the Coupon Bureau. And again, that has the potential to add billions of transactions to the Hedera network. And of course, it builds that intrinsic value for the HBAR token whenever we see these transactions take place on Hedera. Not only that, we still know that HBAR, or Hedera Hashgraph, is the most utilized DLT that currently exists to date, and that is continuing to expand rapidly into the future. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, drop a comment, leave a like, share the video, do whatever you want to do. You can also subscribe for future videos. I do try and engage with you guys as much as I possibly can. Of course, there hasn't been as many videos recently as I've been incredibly busy, and there isn't a ton of information to cover. I don't want to put out worthless videos to you guys for the sake of doing it. That is my stance and will continue to be. But of course, as more information develops from the crypto markets and Hedera, I will continually upload videos as time goes on. Cheers.